understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
Because where I'm from, your grandson becomes the greatest hero in the universe.
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, October 6th, 2018. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
And I'm Sarah Netley, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And for the last time in a long time, we had no new episodes this week.
Yeah, but we do have a retro pick.
We do. We have a fun retro pick. This was a good choice, I think, to end our run of Batman the Animated Series episodes on for now.
Yeah.
And let's transition into the return of live-action TV. Woo!
Yay! Yes. Next week we get back Flash and Black Lightning and Titans drops on DC Universe. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. But before we get into that, a little bit of housekeeping. In case anyone's interested, I did make a brief guest appearance on the Super Live Adventure podcast last week. It's the episode right now that I think that it's called America's Cousin. And I chatted with John Zaluga and Chris Sorrentino for about half an hour, and we talked about a lot of different things. But I did promote this show quite a bit, and I had a lot of fun with those guys. So please go check that out. And Sarah, I don't know if you were on the Twitters last weekend. But there was a lot of talk going on about pizza and schnitzel. Were you up on that?
Listen, the pizza of my home state was referred to as casserole, and those are fighting words. I will challenge you with a glove to the face. Our pizza is thick. Yes. There's more to love. That's all I'm saying.
And our friend at Bowerfett seemed to be going hard for Godfather's pizza.
For chain pizza, and it's been a while because we don't have any around here, but for chain pizza, it's good. I'll stand for Godfather's. Yeah.
That's actually the one chain that's not, I've never seen it in the Northeast. I've never encountered it. It's all, like, in terms of this area, it's all Domino's and Papa John's and Pizza Hut. Which is, if you're a New Yorker, that's the pizza you order when you're out of town because you know what it is. Anywhere else, you run the risk of just getting ketchup on cardboard.
Isn't that New Yorkers?
What?
Isn't that New York pizza? Ketchup on cardboard.
Excuse me?
Your crusts are thin. That's all I'm saying.
That's the point. It's the whole point. It's got to be crisp, That's bad New York pizza when you get that flop to it. But so yeah. So that's going on. And we are aware of that. Just I thought that was some fun conversations that were going back and forth. But yeah. How are you feeling, Sarah? How are you doing? You feeling better? You seem a little under the weather last week.
I am still a little under the weather, so if I have a coughing fit, I will try to mute my microphone. So yeah, I'm a little scratchy. I'm that level of sick where I'm not sick enough to cancel class and stay home, and yet I'm sick. Mm-hmm. And so I'm that guy who's like, no, I'm coming to work anyway, but I can't just take the week off of school. It's what would my students do if they didn't see me? They would be so lost. They would not learn anything. It would be tragic. So I'm rallying. Fall break starts for me right now, so I've got a couple of days to recuperate recuperate. Lays about recuperating and regaining strength. So that's the plan.
That's nice.
Thank
nice.
you.
Yeah.
Have you stayed healthy so far this season?
Yeah, I've been okay. Yeah, I haven't had, no big issues to report. And happy Columbus Day, everybody. This is Columbus Day weekend. We get to celebrate the first time a white guy took a cruise to the Caribbean.
That's the most generous interpretation of that. Yes. That's not a thing. I mean, it's a holiday around here. We're on fall break, but I don't believe my campus closes. So the admins and things are still there, and I know my husband's office is open. So it's really kind of a meh thing around here. Columbus.
Yeah. There's a huge Italian population in New York, and Knights of Columbus are very popular. So I think there's a parade in the city, but that's
really
yeah.
Huh. Have they done any of the 2018 reassessing of Columbus's legacy as a colonizer? Is there any of that?
What are you talking about? He was a hero. He was
all right.
He was a great hero. He was the first Italian American. He's a great role model for Italians. And I'm saying that as someone of Irish and German descent.
Well, no, this is interesting. I didn't know that. Around here it's sort of muted. It's just a day that if you're lucky you get off. So, but we do have Knights of Columbus halls, and the KFC hall is a very definite option for your wedding reception in certain parts of my area.
All right, so that's your history lesson for this week. Now we're gonna do something a little different. We're still gonna cover news and everything, but because we do have shows coming back next week, we thought it would be nice to do a little bit of a refresher on those new shows. So along with those the news, so we're gonna go a little deep dive. So you ready to jump into the Flash?
Absolutely.
All right, so just a quick refresher from The Flash. I do have my synopsis that I wrote, the recap we wrote when we covered the season 4 finale, and we both watched the finales for these shows just to kind of get us back up to speed of what's going on. And just basically, last season, in season 4, the big bad was the Thinker, and Barry went head to head. This is the first time he didn't go up against a speedster. And the Thinker had taken over Central City. And Barry had to go into his mind with the help of the pregnant Cecile in order to defeat the Thinker. Who was rounding up all these bus metas, that he turned and used their powers to take over the world and hopefully brainwash everybody and re-educate them. Thankfully, Barry was able to stop him. And at the end, baby Jenna was having her welcome home party, and Barry and Iris were greeted by someone named Nora, who evidently is their daughter from the future.
Who has not learned the lessons of her father about messing with the timeline.
Nope. What did you think rewatching this finale? What did this jog your memory with?
I remembered how much I enjoyed Marlize at the end of the season, the big bad DeVoe's wife, as she sort of figured out what he was up to was not good, and became her own, created her own agency there. Not like literally created her agency. She became her own actor, So I enjoyed Marlize again on this rewatch. And again, I was surprised by how excited I was that Ralph was rescued from the DeVoe trap and that we have Ralph back.
Yeah. Ralph had a huge, he had a huge arc this season. I think he had a lot of ups and downs, and I thought this was a great culmination for him. To see him down in the dumps and then fighting back to get home, and he's back now, and it seems like he's going to be hanging around part of the team.
Well, and my hope is that we're not going to do quite as much of convincing Ralph to be a hero every week, because there was a lot of that with his character this past season, some of which I enjoyed, but some of which felt a little repetitious. So I'm hoping Ralph is a hero and we don't have to keep convincing him, and we can explore other interesting facets of his character.
Yes, definitely, and I'm hoping that Sue comes around sooner rather than later.
I knew you were going to bring up Sue.
Yep. The other storyline that stood out to me that I'd kind of forgotten, but I thought was the relationship between Cisco and Harry Wells from Earth 2.
Yes.
Harry created a thinking cap and used dark matter that ended up wiping out his memory or his intelligence, and Cisco had to help him fight to get it back. And it ends on this really kind of bittersweet note where, like, he has all of his memories, but he doesn't have any of the knowledge, or, you know, basically it wiped out all of his PhDs. You know, but he remembers who his daughter is, and he's able to go home and you know, enjoy spending time with her again. So
he was happy about that, which I thought was nice. I mean, that was something that he wasn't bitter about what he'd lost. He was looking forward to reconnecting with Jesse.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it's interesting to see, like, how are they going to fill that slot next season, cuz Tom Cavanaugh's coming back. So yeah, let's get forward into what we're looking for. What are we looking forward to in this next season?
Well, I mean, the new Harrison Wells, whoever that may be.
Yes. Yeah, and we're told he's going to have kind of like a Sherlock Holmes bent to him. Is that true?
Yes. And I'm curious. I mean, I feel like he's done the kind of upbeat Wells. He's done the mean, growly Wells. What is the next incarnation of Wells that we can live with on a week by week basis? Because some of his Wells characters would be way too much for frequently recurring. So I'm super curious what he is workshopping for this.
Yes. And who's the big bad for this season? Have they?
Yes, big bad is Cicada, a blue collar worker who is driven to exterminate metahumans, played by why am I blanking on Chris? Not one of the Chris's. Help me out here. All I can think is Chris Evans, because he was just all over the Twitterverse being his Chris Evans-y self and saying goodbye to Avengers.
Sorry, I don't remember.
Chris Klein. All I could think was 90s heartthrob who hasn't done much since then. But yes, Chris Klein plays a grizzled blue collar meta fella. And I am really curious about that, because he is not an actor I've seen in anything in at least 10 years, I would say. And if he's going to be playing a villain, and he's not going to be his youthful, you know, it's the time ravages all of us. So, you know, I'm curious to see how that's going to go. He's not a speedster. It should be a little bit different, but he also is not the DeVoe, like, megalomaniac genius, it looks like. So they're trying something different. It sounds cool.
Yeah. And so that's something to look forward to. We're gonna come back to there next week with the season 5 premiere.
Oh, and wait, Iris is going to be a journalist again.
Oh yes, Iris is gonna be a journalist again. Yeah, she's gonna dive back into that. Yeah, she's starting up her website. She's gonna start doing reporting, and Sarah's gonna get very upset.
I'm gonna try to. I mean, I don't want it to be. She's not his daughter levels of rage, but like, I just hope they do a little bit better with the journalism.
Oh, by the way, on an unrelated note, Venom dropped this week, and I saw it on Thursday night. And Eddie Brock, I don't know if you know this, is a reporter, and I would love to hear your thoughts on his style of journalism.
I'm not gonna like it, am I?
Well, he's a very brash investigative reporter who asks the hard questions that he has not verified before he asks them on camera.
Oh Lord.
So yeah, yeah.
So was that movie as much of a weird, terrible train wreck as I've read?
Oh, it is, but it is a fun ride. It is, it's I don't know if you on The Ringer, Sean Fennessy has this idea of good bad movies, and that is the best good bad movie in like 5 or 10 years.
Well, that's exciting.
But so so yeah, that's Venom, and that's the Flash. Were there any news for the Flash this week?
Just that there's they've dropped a new trailer for all of season 5. They've called it War Zone because the warning is that the city is going to turn into a war zone. So very, very serious, high stakes, etc.
All right. Cool. All right, then let's transition into our other new show that's returning next week, Black Lightning. So Black Lightning returns in the season 1 finale. There was a lot going on here. So Martin Proctor was leading his team who were doing unsanctioned experiments on the youth of Freeland, and they needed a sample of Jefferson's blood because he was the only person who'd survived those experiments. And basically Jefferson had to protect his family, and and Anissa and Jennifer joined in helping him fight off Proctor's goons. And meanwhile, Tobias Whale was also trying to get his secrets out of secret stuff out of Proctor, and he ended up with a suitcase full of mysterious stuff that may be the key to him defeating Black Lightning next season. Proctor ended up dead, and we don't really know what's going to happen now. What the school got kind of trashed, and we haven't really seen any kind of impact of how Jefferson's going to be held responsible for all of that going on. So there's a lot of questions going on, and a lot of excitement coming into this new season.
Well, and I like that it's on the superhero level and on the real identity level. So you've got the school professional angle that he's going to be having to answer for, and then he's got the green light babies. I know is going to be a big driving force for season 2, and so that's gonna kind of drive that. And we've got Anissa and Jennifer both sort of coming into their own in different ways with their superpowers. So I like that they have set up interesting conflicts in the costume and out of costume parts of their lives.
Yeah. And are we gonna get to see Jennifer suit up as Lightning? That's
a good question. I know. Well, actually, can I transition a little bit into the news, because I wonder if this maybe answers that.
Okay.
But Erica Johnson from Living Single has been cast as Jennifer's therapist. She's going to have a 3-episode arc, and I would think that therapy sessions are going to help her come to terms with, how do I want to deal with these powers? And so if that's what it takes to get her to suit up, I could see that being the culmination of that storyline. I don't know that for sure, but to me, that would make a logical progression.
Yeah, and in the rewatch, that was one thing that I was really aware of, is that like Jennifer is not like Anissa, and that she really just likes being a normal kid. I think she's afraid of her powers in a sense, and isn't really inclined to give up her social life to be a superhero. So I don't think that's going to be her first instinct. And it's funny, like probably we should see a lot more like Flash is like toyed around with superheroes in therapy, but that should probably be happening on all of these shows.
How much therapy does Batman need?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm just thinking like Arrow. when you think of everything, just like, Oliver Queen's family history, going down the line.
Yeah, Oliver needs a good hour of talk therapy every week. I think that would be good for him.
Yeah. I mean, I would even start with like daily sessions.
Can you imagine his first therapist drops her notebook and says, "Mr. Queen, could you schedule a follow up with me later this afternoon, tomorrow at the very latest? I'd like to continue this."
So yeah, and but I think this is one of the cool things with Black Lightning is they're doing the sensible, practical thing, and probably what you'd have to do in real life. And yeah. So some cool things. Gamby, I thought it was. I feel like of everyone in that group, it seemed like it made more sense for him to be the one to shoot down Proctor. But I was still really surprised when he did that.
Yeah. Proctor had gotten almost cartoonishly out of control there, so it was fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There weren't many other levels for him to hit had he come back for season 2. He'd hit all the levels.
Yeah. And it's funny, that actor played Peter Quill's grandfather in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So I was just wondering if he just became so, traumatized and pissed off when he lost his grandson that maybe he just decided to take it out on the people of Freeland.
I mean, that could be. That's a good theory.
Yeah. And the other thing I didn't remember, I didn't remember that was the flashbacks to Jefferson with his father.
Oh, I love those. Yeah.
And that really poignant moment where the episode starts off where Jefferson's in a coma from the events of the previous episode, and when he has that sit down with his dad, who basically tells him, "You're not done yet, but I'm proud of you." I thought that was really heartwarming.
Yes, and it was a good flesh out of the backstory, and you get to. I mean, I feel like his dad looms sort of large in his life, but we hadn't seen as much of it. Yeah, that was effectively emotional, and I'm glad they included it.
Yeah. All right. So what are you most excited for next season?
We've been promised an even more maniacal Tobias Whale who's out to revenge his sister's death, and even bigger and badder, and that should be a lot of fun because Tobias Whale's a good villain. He is one I'm glad is returning. Not every villain that carries over from season to season is exciting for me, but this is one I'm glad we get to see more of Tobias.
Cool.
How about you?
Yeah, I would agree. I would definitely agree. I think Tobias, the guy had a guy's hand cut off to get that briefcase, and I just want to know what's inside it. The other thing I would point out is it seems like Jefferson's going to lose his post as principal, and I'm interested to see how he reacts to that, and how long is that going to be a thing? Is this something like he's going to have to try to work his way back to that all season, or is he going to go in a completely different direction professionally?
Will they bust him down to like driver's ed teacher, and will he have to, does he have a classroom in the overflow building, like you have to leave the other building to get to? And I mean, what's that like?
Exactly. All right. And we already covered the news for Black Lightning. So ready to jump into general news for other shows?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
So jumping in, this is not news, but over on Supergirl, Melissa Benoist had a birthday, and her cake, I just feel like everybody needs to know this, had Supergirl on top as a decoration, and then the bottom of it was surrounded by Jurassic Park decorations, including a shirtless Jeff Goldblum made of fondant. And I just have to say, that is peak birthday cake having. Well done, Benoist. That's all I have for Supergirl. I just needed everybody to know that a shirtless cake Goldblum exists, and
yes,
it was on the set of Supergirl.
Yes. And my sister Irene, who forced me to watch Ace of Cakes through much of high school. I would be remiss. She would find me remiss if I did not mention the fact that fondant tastes terrible, and that even people only use it because it's easier to mold shapes out of, and she prefers buttercream all the way.
Oh, that's why we're friends who haven't met yet, because buttercream is the only icing. I understand you can do more with fondant, and it's amazing for decorating, but it's just like gummy. Not even, you can't even say sugar. It's not, fondant is not worth whatever calories are in it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and if you're going to use fondant, at least put a layer of buttercream between the cake and the fondant, so you could remove it.
Yes.
You don't want it.
Also, I'm going to say something controversial. Cream cheese icing is garbage. Just while we're talking about icing, garbage.
Oh no! I see. I don't know. I love a good carrot cake with cream cheese icing. That's my jam. But to each their own.
That's right. See, we don't have to fight about this like we fight about pizza. This is. I understand the cream cheese icing has its place. I'm just always disappointed that it isn't buttercream, because buttercream is the peak of icing. So, I did not know that Supergirl would take us in this direction, but now I want cake.
All right. What's next?
Legends of Tomorrow. A trailer for the upcoming season has dropped. We hadn't seen much cohesive action from the Legends. We've just been kind of getting bits and pieces, but the trailer looks incredibly fun. There's a lot of Constantine in action with the team, a lot of the myths and legends that they're tracking down, some Gary action. So that's great. But that is, I will say, that's the show I'm the most looking forward to coming back. That's the show that I'm looking forward to all of them. I'm incredibly interested in where Arrow's going. Supergirl sounds like a lot of fun, but Legends, again, they got a unicorn.
Is a unicorn. Looks like there's some witch trials. They're back in the 70s at one point.
The Beatles.
Yes. Yeah. And I think John Constantine rolling in with all that. It's going to be trouble, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it too.
This show is just the breather from some of the doom and gloom. Arrow looks like it's going to be really heavy for a long time, and I think Legends is going to be the needed break to all of that.
All right. What's up next?
We are shifting away from the CW shows next, and here is some news for Gotham. The premiere is going to jump 3 months from where we left it in the finale last season, which is a pretty standard time jump for shows when they take the summer off. You come back 3 months later. Of course, Gotham isn't coming back until 2019, but close enough. And then after that 3-month time jump, we're going to actually jump ahead a whole year. And from what I understand, this is going to be pretty necessary because of all the changes the city is experiencing, because they're doing the year one storyline. And so we have to see how the city deteriorates, cut off from the rest of the world. Ed, is that a fair assessment of that?
Yes. Yeah. It's funny. I feel like if this show had gotten a full season, we probably would have spent more time in No Man's Land. I bet you that's what the premiere is. It's basically wrapping up the No Man's Land stuff. And then, then we're jumping into year one. It's interesting that it's only 1 year when, it probably should be a decade, if we're following the comics timeline. But, David Mazouz is he's got to grow up fast. But
dang, a decade, really? That's how long that storyline is?
Well, no. It just because the whole thing is Bruce Wayne has to go to college and then decide to wander the earth for 7 years and then come back to Gotham and become Batman.
Gotcha.
But Gotham doesn't have to do that, and it doesn't look like they are. Unless we're going to get a huge time jump again in the finale or something. But yeah. So yeah. I think that's really interesting.
Well, and speaking of Mazouz, he and Sean Pertwee did an interview where they talked a little bit about the upcoming season. Mazouz says that the characters are going to come together to beat one big bad enemy. I assume that's Bane, but I love seeing all of those misfits and malcontents working together. I always really enjoy the villain team ups and things, so that should be fun. He has promised that the characters are going to become who they're destined to be, so we are going to see them move closer toward the iconic characters that we know. And Pertwee, who plays Alfred, said he's working with actors that he hasn't worked with before. So that's interesting to me, because we've seen Alfred interact with a fair number of people, but apparently there's even more that he hasn't really interacted with that much that he's going to be dealing with. So that is something to look forward to.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. All right, moving on to Krypton. Yeah, Krypton news. We haven't had Krypton news all summer long. But we have casting news for Lobo. He'll be played by Emmett J. Scanlon, whose credits I didn't super recognize, although he did play a role in the TV show Constantine. He played Jim Corrigan. And we have a first look at Scanlon in the Lobo costume. Ed, what did you think?
I thought it was really good. What's funny is, like, I've seen cosplayers do something similar, but that's what Lobo looks like in the comics. It's very comic accurate, and it's the classic Lobo, not the cleaned up pretty boy version that we were afraid we were going to get.
Yeah, this is not a guy that you would want to take home to mom.
No, not at all. I think this is exciting. I mean, he played Jim Corrigan in Constantine, and they set up in that show that he was about to become the Spectre. So he missed out on his chance to be the Spectre. So, you know, I'm glad that he's getting another shot at being a DC hero, or at least a major DC character with Lobo.
Listen, he's got red eyes, he's got a vest, and he's got abs. That's what I took away. And he's got a lot of like hair that needs a good deep condition. Does that capture Lobo?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, cool.
Yeah, he's the ultimate intergalactic biker.
But I thought that was exciting casting. I know we had talked about how excited you were to have that character coming to the show, and it's always nice to have an actor name to put with the character. So, moving on to Lucifer. Just a quick little update on that. We have a title for episode 6, and that will be called Orgy Pants to Work. I cannot wait to see how that works into the episode. That sounds like fun.
I'm not going to touch that.
Lucifer has never said that. I'll take things never spoken by Lucifer for 200, Alex.
All right. We're rolling right through.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to Titans, which is one of the shows we'll have for you fresh next week, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So in advance of it dropping on DC Universe, it's already been renewed for season 2. So the network obviously is it bullish or bearish? I never can remember.
Bullish
on the show's prospects of being a hit. So we will definitely get a season 2. Also, if you're go ahead.
I was going to say, one of the things that was coming out of New York Comic Con was DC Universe showed a timeline of the premieres for all of its new shows. Titan season 2 wasn't on there, but I do think it was interesting to see that they really do have plans to have content up there going year round.
That was a cool way to do it. They presented it visually, so you could just see which shows were running and for how long, and you could see there'd be some overlap here and there, and it looked like they were splitting up Young Justice into 2 parts somehow. So you will definitely be getting fresh DC Universe content.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be so much fun.
Well, and if you are an international viewer, you will be able to see Titans actually on Netflix internationally. So that's exciting too. I don't know what our international listenership is. I assume we're like major in Belarus. So, but yeah, Netflix International is going to carry that. So it's nice that they have the option for our friends overseas. And Anna Diop, who plays Starfire, did an interview. I think it was Comic-Con related, New York Comic-Con, where she did say that Starfire is going to get her classic comics costume eventually. So everybody who told her she looks like an 80s hooker, calm down. She's going to get her costume.
All right. Exciting.
Yeah. Related Doom Patrol.
Patrol
related
music.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. But last week we reported on a sketchy rumor that Matt Bomer was going to be Negative Man, and we kind of dismissed it because it was on such a like not noteworthy website. But guess what? Matt Bomer is going to be Negative Man. That was true.
My God.
I know.
Yeah. He did a little video from the set at New York Comic Con, and it looked like he was in an astronaut getup, which makes sense. And he's going to be providing the voice for Negative Man, and playing him in flashbacks. The same kind of deal that Brendan Fraser gets for Robot Man.
I have to say, the two most exciting announcements of casting for this show were Brandon Fraser and Matt Bomer, and they're both only voicing and doing flashbacks, which is disappointing. You have Matt Bomer, and you give us his voice, but not his face, his beautiful, beautiful face. It hurts me. It hurts. We deserve Matt Bomer's face.
To be fair, he does do a lot of voice work for DC animated movies.
Does he really?
Yes. So yeah, I'm just glad they're getting good actors for these parts.
They really are. This is quality cast, and I guess we'll always have white collar reruns. So
yeah. Or there's always the one season of The Last Tycoon on Amazon Prime if you really want to check that out.
I have not seen that. I call myself a Bomer fan, but I have not checked out The Last Tycoon, and I like the Great Gatsby. I like F. Scott Fitzgerald. So, all right, moving on to Stargirl. And this is our last bit of news of the week. Is on Stargirl. Some writing room news. James Robinson is going to co-write, which means something to Ed.
Yes, he's a very famous comic book writer. Wrote a graphic novel in the 90s called The Golden Age, which it was basically about what was going on with the Justice Society in the 50s during the Cold War, when basically all superheroes stopped being superheroes because World War II had ended and they weren't needed, and it kind of serves as an allegory for the Red Scare. But that was kind of what kicked off the JSA, the Justice Society's resurgence in the late 90s and through the aughts. And he co-wrote a lot of that JSA series with Jeff Johns. So he definitely has a connection to this character, plus has written tons of great comics over the years. But has had a special connection with this section of the DC universe for a long time. There was a series called Airboy that he did for Image a couple of years ago, which was very reflexive because it wasn't about Airboy. It was about this writer named James Robinson who was having these delusions while he was writing the comic book version of Airboy. So it was a fun comic about comics, but he's a very good writer, has a lot of respect, and knows these characters well. So I'm excited to have him on board.
So I have two things for that. Is Airboy any relation to Airwolf?
No, but it's basically it was a Golden Age character. He was a superhero who flew planes.
Okay, cool. And I appreciate that in Airboy, James Robinson pulls a Roger Zelazny in later Chronicles of Amber, where we meet Roger Zelazny. I always like it when authors put themselves in their work. It's modest.
Yes.
But I think it's really cool that he and Jeff Johns apparently work work together quite a bit. I mean, that's nice when you see those creative teams continuing in different mediums.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Boy, I hated the Chronicles of Amber. If we want to talk about fantasy books really quickly. Yeah, I just not my jam.
Okay.
Jeff Johns also gave an interview, said that Stargirl is going to be like Back to the Future or Karate Kid in that it's the passing of the torch of heroism from one generation to the next generation. And so he sort of compares it to those. I hope we could get a wax on, wax off scene in that case. And that they are building a stripe robot that will be 15 feet tall. I mean, it sounded like building, not like building on a computer building. So,
well, just the fact that they're building it, like they're building it, like it's a thing, it's not.
And for the in-show world, how do you hide a 15-foot robot? No, I'm serious. Where do you put that thing?
Yeah, it's like the Iron. It might as well be the Iron Giant. It's the Iron Giant. This is gonna have that kind of feel to it, Sarah.
Okay, don't tease that. The Iron Giant is amazing. But I guess it is set in Iowa, so you do have barns.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
maybe it'll be in a barn. And then the last little bit here is that Jeff Johns did an interview talking about the DC Universe shows and the possibility of a multiverse, and he was open to a shared universe. He said he's really focused on Stargirl right now. Obviously, Titans and Doom Patrol share a universe. If Stargirl were to join that universe, he'd be open to that. And also Swamp Thing, and they had explicitly said earlier in Swamp Thing announcements that Swamp Thing was going to be in its own universe. But John said, no, the shared universe would be cool. He is open to that. So.
Yeah, and hey, anything is possible. Anything is possible.
I am open to somebody handing me $10 million. I'm open to that.
Yes,
doesn't mean it's gonna happen.
Nope. All right. So that's the news. That's all the news, right?
That's all she wrote.
All right. So into our retro pick for this week, and that's Batman, the animated series. Episode aired January 18th, 1993. Harley and Ivy. After getting tossed off by the Joker, Harley Quinn met up with Poison Ivy and started a crime spree across Gotham. Both Batman and the Joker tracked the new queens of crime to an abandoned neighborhood next to a toxic waste dump. Last minute reveal, the Joker may have been ornery at Arkham, but Harley was hopeful they could work things out, and a disgusted Ivy tossed dirt in Harley's face.
Okay, this was a fun episode.
Last week you said, you commented, the way Harley and Joker were interacting, that Harley needs a good girlfriend, and voila.
So did you change your pick for this because of that?
No, I did not.
That's
it was
so
a happy
funny.
accident. It was a very happy accident.
But there's so much about this episode to enjoy. Starting with how both of the women sort of use their skills. I liked that when they met up during that museum heist, that Harley is the one who figured out shoot the poison from the gun, and Ivy is the one who says, "Oh, I've got the getaway car." And I like it when we get to see the strengths of the individual women on screen. I enjoyed that. I also enjoyed the dork night. That was good.
Yeah, Mark Hamill had some incredible moments in this. I love his whole rant where he's walking around in his underwear, yelling at the guys. What is this? The place is a pigsty. No one's fed the hyenas. Where's Hall?
The Joker in a tank top is something. That's startling. But also, poor Harley. Does she really do the cooking and the cleaning and the hyena maintenance and if you really examine it, it's very sad. Really sad.
Yeah. Cause she loves him. Like that's the real thing, is that she loves him so much that she, gives a blind eye to all of the abuse and the horrible way that he treats her.
Well, and the way he demands that she come back and claiming what's mine, and it felt like the writers had studied the handbook on abusive relationships. I mean, this felt uncomfortably real. I mean, that's what threw me out of the fun, was just that it was so horrible. Poor Harley. Oh. And I love Ivy just being like, no, girl, don't. No. No. Don't do that.
Yeah. It's it was interesting. I really enjoy it, and you got to see Batman do some detective work. I thought it was.
I thought
it was a little.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I thought it was a little bit of a stretch that he would examine the soil in the tire marks. I think that seemed like something really, really specific for him to look into, and that's going to be the thing that locks everything in, that he's able to track them down. Not that there's that toxic waste dump. Like he doesn't check that out every couple of weeks just to see if anyone's.
I was going to say that feels like a place that should be on his patrol already.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually almost a little disappointed when Batman showed up at first, because I was so digging the Queens of Crime and the Joker dynamic, and then Batman showed up, I was like, oh yeah, this is a show about Batman. That's right. He was damn near immortal in this episode. I mean, he's plunging into like toxic sludge water and surviving explosions, and this almost could have been somebody else talking about Batman, kind of when we had the different POVs in the POV episode. Like, this felt like the immortal man Batman version of Batman, because he really survived a lot, I thought.
Yeah, and he pulls Joker out of that, but what about Rocco and the other guy?
They made their choices.
But they didn't die. They didn't die because this is a kid's show.
Yeah. Their minds were wiped, or whatever that was the other week.
Oh, that explosion was incredible.
Yes.
Yeah. I just last night on a lark was watching Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, and a house explodes in that, and it was not as impressive as the explosion that happens in Harley and Ivy.
Nothing about Friday the 13th Part 7 would have been as impressive as what happened in any given episode of Batman the Animated Series.
Well, but it was a really good explosion. I will say that was the one thing, and they blew up an actual house. So it
Well, and poor Ivy, that was her house.
Yeah. No respect. No, and it's not like anyone else could have moved into that place.
She was taking advantage of the property that was available to her. She was putting good use to an existing resource. It's a shame. It's just a shame.
Yeah. She's got to develop that inoculation again and everything else.
Yeah. It's a whole thing. I did enjoy that they trussed up Batman with objects of women's enslavement around the house. Mm-hmm. So vacuums and irons and a mixer, it looked like. So that was fun. It's fun.
Yeah. And hanging around with Harley and Ivy, having dinner. You think she makes that every night?
I do. She strikes me as somebody who's a woman of habit. My bigger question is, why are they hanging around without pants on? Every time you see them, they're just in shirts. What? Why?
They're just they're lounging around the house. What do you want?
Pants. I want pants. That's weird. Wear pants. I'm wearing pants. I'm hanging around my house. I'm wearing pants.
All right.
I mean, it's just when you're hanging around, you wear pants. That's it was just like, oh yeah, so this is about women crime spree. Awesome, but this is still drawn by a man. Yeah, I said it. But I enjoyed seeing Harley out of her makeup. I don't think that I'd seen her in her non-get-up form. Does that sound right? I don't think I didn't know she was a blonde.
So. Yeah. You found out she was a blonde. And that's right. We didn't do Mad Love yet. We haven't gotten to that episode yet, so you haven't seen her origin. But yeah. So yeah, this probably is the first time you saw her out of the Harlequin costume.
Yeah, it was a surprise to me. Let's see, we saw the Batmobile in auto drive. That was cool. And Renee Montoya got her ladies.
Yes, yeah. It was good to see her part of it. I did like her cursing in Spanish under her breath. And yeah, I do like that she's the one that catches them and not Batman.
Well, no man can catch us, so you know.
All right, and we are getting new shows next week, so unfortunately, this is going to be our last retro pick for a while. And if DC Universe is as big as we can, it may be the last retro pick we have for a long time.
Yeah.
We'll probably get. We'll probably get something around Christmas, but
they'll take a break around then, I would think. But I am gonna drag you kicking and screaming into A Christmas Prince too, so that's gonna happen. I so enjoyed this retro pick choice. I have loved watching this show, so thank you for suggesting it. It's been great.
Yeah, awesome. All right. And I think that's it. Anything we want to point out? Anything?
Well, I mean, this is our last time of having no real winner of the week, which means that our winner of the week was Batman. I just want to say that one last time. So, Batman.
Batman. All right. Thanks everybody. And that's the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
And I'm at Sarah Netzley, SARANETZLEY.
And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister shows, the Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam!